Into it. All right, welcome everybody. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully fantastic. I'm Vince.
I am Bob. We are about to...
No,
I'm
we're
about
not.
to cry.
Man, slow.
We can't do rock, paper, scissors?
Not yet. See, you even ruined what it was. It was going to be fun. Jesus. Do we have to go over every second of the show? Okay, anyways. I did want to ask you a question. So, Magic just recently announced that they're bringing back the Pro Tour. And they brought back basically the system that was like my favorite system, which was the RPTQ into the PTQ system. Which was where they like cut out the GPs, where it wasn't about spiking GPs. It was about going to the one thing, go to the next step, get to the next step. And that was when I played the most and grinded the most. Like, me and Dan went everywhere for that period. So I'm actually kind of excited about that. So, I don't know, what do you think about them announcing that they're coming back?
I think that about 90% of it has to do with Flesh and Blood.
I think a chunk.
Well, not even just the basic, not even just the fact that Flesh and Blood's doing well with the Pro Tour. Star City Games incorporated Magic into their major Flesh and Blood tournaments, and Magic probably started seeing the turnouts that they were getting at these major Magic events again, and realized that people are missing that big aspect of the game that was around for so long. And my thoughts when I heard it, I mean, we knew it was coming back, but we didn't know how quick.
No, not that. Was it a question that people were upset that they got rid of it? Like, they knew that. Like, it's been a 5-year plan to get rid of it. Like, you can go back 5 years and watch them slowly strip out organized play. But anyways, back to what you were saying. I didn't mean that.
Well, I also think that people back then didn't think that they were ever going to actually do it.
Sure.
I think when they actually did it, I think it probably did have some kind of effect when they actually completely said it's gone, because otherwise they wouldn't be bringing it back so quickly. I mean,
I think it's an optics thing. Like, even if it's not profitable, I think they might have realized the optics of having a pro circuit to not having a pro circuit. And, you know what I mean? These events that they put on that are supposed to be big events, I don't think are getting the turnouts that they want. And I think, again, it really comes down to the carrot. If you can't chase the carrot as a regular person to some level, you lose something. And then you're not doing any coverage of these pro events. And, like, again, I understand that the kitchen table thing is that, or the kitchen table is what's bringing in your biggest money, and you know that, you see that in numbers, but it doesn't change the fact that people stumble onto your game surfing Twitch. People, you know what I mean, or the people that do get into it. Like, it starts at your kitchen table, but then you got people like me that ended up showing up to my F&M, and then next thing you know, I'm going to GPs. Next thing you know, I'm watching coverage every Saturday that you were like, you're not important to me, you know? I don't know. Back to you.
but I mean, I'm excited. When it's my first thought when I heard it, 100% honesty, is, man, I should probably throw together a modern deck before everything goes sky high again.
Yep.
I have no real interest in trying to jump back into standard.
No.
I don't want to have to keep up with every card from every set. But I would like to get back into some of the Eternal formats. Get a Pioneer deck, a Modern deck, something that you're only going to have to add a few cards here and there.
You're starting with Pioneer, in case you didn't read the thing. The first event is Pioneer, or the first season.
I figured it would be one or the other. I knew that they weren't
Modern.
going to shove it into Standard, but yeah, I would prefer Modern as well.
I think Standard's a dead format. Like, I don't think anyone's interested in it. Like, just period. I think they beat it to death into Arena to the point where I don't know for sure, but I don't see that, at least in the forefront, being the format that they bring. Like, Pioneers, Moderns. maybe even Legacy might come back before they try to do something that just set after set after set. People like, from what I've heard on other podcasts and stuff, is that the interest in Standard is like all-time low. The other stuff is doing okay. But like, if you're not the grinder trying to like do that, or the streamer, there's not a whole bunch of interest in just flat Standard. It gets solved too quick. Like, you know what I mean? It just really does. Like, even with the amount of product they come out with, like, it's been an issue for years. Once there's been like the information like burst. Like, I don't know when it happened, but all of a sudden it's like, hey, did you know on the internet you could just net deck forever? Like,
where did the decks come from?
Right.
Somebody's got to be brewing these things up.
So my next question is how big of a deal is it to Fab that, you know, the biggest card game period is coming back into the territory that they filled the void of? I think a lot of Magic players coming over was because of the dead competitive scene. Now, I think that a lot of people might have, like, you know, animosity against them, and they might not go back just strictly on that. But them re-entering the scene is, I mean, it's time to puff chests, right? Like, it's...
I don't know, but I think it also could bear fruit for Fab as well, because the fact that this small upstart game that a lot of people are probably like, well, in 5 years, if it's still around, maybe I'll give it a go, has intimidated Magic enough that they changed their tune in under 2 years about closing out competitive scene. I mean, I feel like that also gives some attention to this game. Like, wow, this game must be pretty good if they're scaring.
To be fair, Magic's been having events alongside almost all these Flesh and Blood events. Like, all the SCG cons have Magic alongside it. The Calling, I think, no, not the Calling. Did the Calling have?
No, there was. I did not see any Magic at the Calling.
Not the one we went to. The most recent one. I know there wasn't coverage, but I think there was Magic. But there was coverage for Flesh and Blood, which is like one of the things that I agree with you. That I think there is a little threat, because like they didn't do coverage of Magic. They did do coverage of Flesh and Blood, and like you know, on record, I think Flesh and Blood's a better competitive game. Like, I think Magic overall might be a funner game. But when you nuts and bolts it, and what I love is competitive play. They're just hands down. And the games are so good, I consider them fun. But there's some people that don't consider that fun. That's kind of my point. Is like, Magic, anyone can have fun. If you don't like nuts and bolts, like decent decks, there's just nothing. We've talked about it before. There's just nothing casualish yet to like really suck it in. And I like Pit Fight's not it to me.
Yeah, Pit Fight's not great, but I think that the PvE is gonna fill that void finally.
Another year.
Well, I mean, we're already seeing cards that are made for it, like that new Bard.
I just really hope they do like dungeon crawl instead of boss rush. Like that's a big thing to me. Like, I'm sure it'll be fun either way, but if they make it like episodic, like twice a year they come out with a campaign for you to run and like sell these campaign like decks with like, you know, a boss and like different like different treasures, only way to get certain cold foil weapons. Like, there's so much you can do if they like really lean into it. Because again, like, if Ultimate Pit Fight was their like big answer to casual multiplayer play, I think they missed the mark. Like, there's some people that love it, but I don't get it. Like,
we haven't got I haven't played enough of it to really give it a definitive opinion on it. But like, only being able to attack one way is always weird to me. So it's just one of those things. Like, I can't retaliate against the person who's actually killing me.
Right.
So I have nothing to say or do about. Like, that's the part I don't like about, like, the multiplayer, like, attack to your left.
Yeah. Right. The thing I don't like also.
Because you're essentially relying on the person across from you to defend you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's
So-
it's very weird. But we're getting off subject. I want to stick to Magic coming back into the competitive scene and what that might mean for Flesh and Blood. And like, is that pressure for them? Like, are there moves that need to be made now that they re-entered the scene? Because again, this is a market share that Flesh and Blood pretty much just had to itself for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, through COVID and whatnot. I mean, granted, like, they had obstacles too, but like, they had that space, and now they're about to share it with a way bigger monster than they are. You know what I mean? And like, again, I'm gonna show up for the Flesh and Blood. I might play Magic on the side if they're both at an event, but like, I'm showing up for the Flesh and Blood for sure. But like, how many people in Flesh and Blood that didn't come from TCGs that now understand TCGs? They're like, hey, you know, what's that? Let's go see what that is. That's been around for 30. You know what I mean? It just has this pedigree to it where you can't blame anyone for checking it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is also, it's a very overwhelming pool to try to jump into, though. I feel like Anne said, part of her thing.
You have to put it somewhere.
But she said one of the biggest things, the reasons that she likes Fat better than she liked Magic is because she felt like she had to try to catch up on so much stuff for Magic because it's been around for so long, as opposed to this that we pretty much got in on the ground floor. And
Sure.
and I think that's a big appeal to some people. But if you want to jump into a bigger card pool, then yeah, you're gonna drift more towards a game that's got that kind of longevity.
Well, right, but it also has it. But it's also so different. It's like so very.
Yeah, it's two very different games.
They're very different games, and like I said, this kind of leans into my heart of competitive play. It feels good to play competitively, but as I've said before, like around a group of people doing weird, goofy stuff, the pool's either just not big enough, or they just haven't introduced the format that's fun enough to like really kind of make it shine. And it could be both, you know. That's all I really wanted to go over. Did you have anything else to say on the topic?
Not really. I mean, I'm still going to primarily be Flesh and Blood. I will probably go and play a Magic tournament here and there now that it actually matters. Like when they do big stuff, I like to go to the big events. Because a lot of times I don't have time to do a tournament or two a week, but if I can do 10 tournaments in a weekend, that's kind of the appeal of these big events to me. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the Calling. I did 6 events at the Calling, and I think I just broke 6 events since the Calling.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's, I mean...
If I didn't play on Discord, I'd be in the same boat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just hard to make the time right now. I just have too many other things going on in my life that are just too important to push back. So, you know, that's my appeal for both of these big competitive things. Every time one of these festivals come around, I will probably be there doing side events or something.
Sure.
I probably won't get into the major competitive stuff, but I love going to run side events at a Magic tournament. I would probably go for a day and draft and just screw around.
Well, funny you should say all this, because the Battle Hardened in Pittsburgh, there's a modern thing on Saturday that I'm probably going to go up and play in, and then go up Sunday and play Flesh and Blood.
Oh, see, I am probably going to go and do Battle Hardened both days.
There's not a Battle Hardened both days.
Oh, so what's
This is
Saturday?
just a split thing. Side events maybe?
Oh.
Or there's a modern tournament. There's like a decent sized modern tournament. There's like 2 announced events both days. And one is Magic, and then Sunday is Battle Hardened in another Magic thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is the thing. So there's like one Battle Hardened, but it's only Sunday from what I understand right now. So if that's the case, I may go play Modern on Saturday.
See, at that point, I think I'm on the opposite boat. I think I would only go Sunday, and then if I scrub out, I'll probably do Magic side events. Because I think I feel more comfortable doing Magic drafts than I am in Flesh and Blood. I just haven't worked out the kinks of it.
Sure.
And I probably draft both games back and forth, but I just over the years have had much more success with Magic, so I'm sure I would probably get into a few rounds of each.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would go out there if there's not at least side events going on for Fab. I don't think I'll.
That's what I need to find out, because if there's not side events, period, I'm probably not going out there. I'm not going to go scrub 2 rounds and leave. I haven't played. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there'd be Magic side events, but I think
I
feel like whatever game you scrub out of, you're probably going to want to switch over to the other game when you're done.
I'm not like that. I want to jam the next. I want to jam the next thing. Like if I go up Saturday to play Modern and I scrub out, I'll probably play Magic side events, and then Sunday I probably won't even bring anything Magic. I'll just go up play with. You know what I mean?
Oh, see, I would only do limited side events for Magic. I don't even have enough stuff to build a deck anymore.
I got 2 Modern decks. What up? What up? Eldrazi Tron, and I have a Underworld Breach combo deck are the 2 I have built. See?
I thought Breach got banned. No,
I don't think so. Modern or Standard, I think it did. I don't think it didn't get banned in Modern. I don't think.
Maybe it got banned in Pioneer.
Oh yes, I'm almost positive that happened.
That's probably what it is.
But anyways, let's not drift off. So that's about it. Unless you had anything else to say.
No.
And yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll see you guys. Adios.
Peace.
All right. Good deal.
Alright, I'm going to sneak down and grab a